ACT admissions guy, joining you today from the country of Georgia to discuss the transfer admissions process, specifically SAE, the issue of importance. So in the previous video, I talked about how first-time freshmen have to write a longer essay, SAA, about their home environment where they're raised, and then 3 short answer questions. And the transfer admissions process requires students to write 2 longer essays, SAA, the statement of purpose, and SAE, the issue of importance. There's a little bit of confusion and a discrepancy. So on UT Austin's admissions website, they might have changed it, but it says that you only have to submit SAA as being required, and then it's your choice to submit either SAE or an SAC discussing special circumstances. However, on Applied Texas, it says that in order to submit your application, both SAA and SAE are both required transfer essays. And so for that reason, I suggest that transfer students write SAA and SAE. And I'll talk a little bit more about special circumstances if you do have those. And also, coincidentally, this SAE, these 2 essays have been the same topics for years now for transfer admissions. Discussing a issue of importance used to be required of first-time freshmen whenever I worked for the University of Texas, and so I've had experience reading hundreds of SAEs, both for first-time freshmen and for transfer students. So it is required, and these essays are important. So the essays in the resume account for about half of your admissions review criteria, the other half being your GPA and the rigor of the courses that you've taken. So I've got a few pieces of advice, food for thought, that can help you approach your SAE. The first piece of advice is you can write about literally anything, right? So some students oftentimes get concerned and they ask me, like, what should I choose? Or like, what are reviewers looking for? And the answer is an easy one, but paradoxically also difficult. Reviewers want you to discuss something that's literally important to you. So it's more important why you're choosing your topic and how you write, more so than what it is you're writing about. So SAE really has a much wider range of possibilities than the SAA statement of purpose, where you kind of have to talk about your story and why you want to transfer. So again, you should be thoughtful about the selection and discuss something that's personally important to you and not something that's kind of abstract or out there in the world or some kind of political or economic topic that you don't have any vested interest in. So you can write about anything, but really you should choose something that you've got some sort of personal experience or something that resonates with you, either on a personal level or in your family, your community, at your school, and so on. The second way to approach SAE is to discuss a topic related to your first choice major. So I'll talk about this more in the last video about putting your transfer application together, but admissions reviewers are looking for whether you demonstrate fit for your first choice major. So they essentially want you to see, do you have the skills, experiences, and a thoughtful reason or two why it is you want to pursue your major or perhaps change your major if you're looking to transition to a different area of study. You don't necessarily have to talk about your major, but especially if you're applying to something like computer science or engineering or any kind of STEM program, it might help to discuss any previous experiences or skills that you have. And so in that way, SAE can tie into your SAA a little bit and help you kind of tie those pieces together in terms of painting a picture as arguing effectively why you deserve a space at UT Austin. The third way you can talk about SAE, and it ties into the second piece of advice, is use SAE to expand upon something in your resume. So again, I'll talk more about the resume in the next video, but it helps if you can tell a story or an anecdote to put your resume into context. So oftentimes, students have, 1 or 2 things that are particularly interesting with them, whether it's a place of employment or a job that they've had for a long time. Perhaps they're, a military veteran, or maybe there was an activity you were highly involved in high school that you've continued in through your college years. So maybe spend some or all of your SAE putting those activities into context to add more to your resume to help kind of tell a good story about how you might bring a good perspective or a hobby to campus. I've already mentioned this before, but it's worth repeating. The 4th piece of advice is choose something that relates to you personally. If you want to talk about politics, for example, I think that's okay, but you should always talk about or somehow related into some activity that you're doing. So one of the best examples I saw was a student who is kind of concerned with the world being a greener place, kind of reducing our carbon footprint. And they live in the city of Austin. They live in kind of the center of Austin, where traffic is a really big issue. So there's traffic, there's pollution. It can be hard to get around because public transportation isn't a big option. And this particular student lobbied their local, kind of the local city council to provide funds and implement bike lanes in that student's neighborhood. And so they took kind of a large system level, a number of system level complex topics, and they talked about how they're working towards, changing a little bit and leaving their own impact and helping solve a global problem at a local level. So if you want to talk about politics, make sure it's kind of a localized issue. Finally, so since it seems that Essay A and Essay E are both required, sometimes students ask me, should I submit that third essay, Essay C, discussing special circumstances? And it can be kind of a lot of work. I mean, you're busy taking your college classes. Oftentimes transfer students, they might have a son or a daughter, or maybe they're employed full time, and they just don't have a lot of time to spend on their application. There's no bonus points for submitting the optional essay. And instead, since Essay E allows you to talk about a topic of kind of personal importance or importance within your family, oftentimes special circumstances are related to kind of mental, struggles with mental illness, taking care of a mother, father, or grandfather, or maybe taking care of a child of their own. And so instead use Essay E to talk about these special circumstances, and again tie that back into your Essay A and kind of some lessons that you've learned through overcoming hardship or working through adversity. So I hope you enjoyed this video about Transfer Essay E. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have information in the video below about my book, Your Ticket to the 40 Acres, as well as my course, Getting into Texas Universities, which I provide a free preview on that link. And you can see exactly how transfer applications are made on the student side and then reviewed from the Office of Admissions. Feel free to complete my questionnaire to receive a free consultation and talk about what we can do to maximize your transfer admissions chances to UT Austin. Thanks, and I hope you have a great day.